afternoon, guys. I'm Logan from the Backwoodsman. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys the fundamentals of archery using a recurve. So overall, the fundamentals of archery. It's going to be a good time. You guys are going to learn a lot. Catch you in a bit. Let's talk a little bit about what I got here. I got a takedown recurve. It's a PSE Kingfisher. It's a recurve at least. It's got aluminum riser and fiberglass limbs. So not the most traditional piece of archery equipment you can have, but it's a modern recurve that these limbs come off and I can store it in a case about 30 inches long. So you can see the limbs curve up and out away from the string. A longbow would just go straight. Alright, this is a recurve. It's got curve in the limbs, gives it a little more oomph behind an arrow, you can say. Now let's talk about how you go getting a recurve set up to you. A recurve is a lot different than a compound bow. Right? If you've seen my video on the compound bow, it's pretty long and pretty in depth, and I'm going to use a lot of references towards that. But the recurve, your draw length, the poundage on a recurve is measured at 28 inches. Right? My draw length is at 28.
If your draw length is less than 28 inches, you're going to be pulling less poundage than your recurve is rated.
Now if I pull back and my draw length's at 30 inches, and I'm pulling to my anchor point, it's going to be a little more than 50 pounds. Let's talk about the arrows. I got these arrows cut at 30 inches. You can take them to, buy arrows from like a mom and pop shooting store, a bow shop, whatever, and they'll cut them to you. They'll fit your recurve, they'll knock your string, set up your rest, whatever you want to do with your recurve, they'll set it up for you, as long as they have a good knowledge on traditional archery. Alright? A lot of people nowadays are more geared towards the compound, and that's just is way too easy. It's just taken away from the basics. So I'm going to teach you guys the basics right here. Alright, we're going to talk a little bit about the grip. The grip on a recurve or a compound bow is a relaxed grip. Alright, you can see my knuckles are turning white right now. Right here, if I'm flexing that, like my wrist like that, it's shaking. I can't control it. So you want to relax the grip. You want basically just an L shape, just like this, and just close your one finger on it and just grab a hold, just like this. I keep my 3 fingers up when I'm shooting, and it just helps me get in line. I don't know, whatever you want to do, just have a relaxed grip. Don't white knuckle it. A lot of people, when they think of shooting a recurve or shooting a traditional bow, they think straight up and down. Alright, some people do that, and some target shooters for like Olympics, they shoot it like that. But me, and what I find is a lot more practical, is for the bow hunter, is to have about a 30-degree angle to whatever your strong side is. Alright, this is a right-handed recurve. If you're a left-handed shooter, you got to get a left-handed recurve, because the riser's only made for a right-handed shooter. As you can see, the arrow coming off of this side. So I got about a 30-degree tilt on my recurve, and I'm relaxed. Alright, relaxed grip. Alright, we're going to start without a recurve in our hand. We're going to talk about the stance. The stance we got, you want to be a little wider than shoulder width, but you want to be, if you're my target right now, I don't want to be perfectly sideways, because then it's just awkward. I'm using all my back muscles in a weird way. It's hard to keep me steady on the target. I'm going to put myself at a 45, a natural position, 45 or 30, leaning slightly more towards the target. And what I'm going to do with my feet, as you can see, they're a little wider than shoulder width, but my rear foot, my strong foot, I'm right-handed, is about half the distance in front or behind my lead foot, which is my left foot. So it'll look something like this, just like that. And now what I'm going to do with my body, I'm going to bend my legs, and I'm going to put my weight into the target. So when I'm pulling back my recurve, I'm putting myself into the target. And now we're going to try it with the recurve. Lead foot, canted at like a 45, a natural kind of turn. Your rear foot, about half the distance lengthwise of your lead foot, canted at that same 45 or 30, whatever it wants to be. Bend your legs, put your body into the target, and you're pulling your bow back, just like that. And now we're going to talk about how you grip the string. There's 2 different methods that are pretty commonly known. One is the over-under. I'm going to grab an arrow. An over-under, that's how I shoot. 1 on top and 2 on bottom. Just like this. 1 on top, 2 on bottom. And I pull it back to my anchor point. The other method is 3 on bottom. Alright, 3 fingers all the way to the bottom. They teach new shooters this, and it's basically all preference, but new shooters, they teach them this because it takes the arrow pretty much up to their face, in line with everything, and it's just easier for beginners to use. But it's personal preference, like I said. I like using 2-in-1. That's how I first started shooting, and that's just natural for me.
The 3 on the bottom has a lot less chance of rolling the string.
Now when you knock an arrow on a recurve, your knock feather has to point out because of how the riser is, and the limbs or the feathers will bypass it. Now I know this is whisker biscuit, and the whiskers, the fletching has to cut through the whiskers, but that's just how it has to be because of this riser. Now on like compound bows, when you have different types of rest, you can have your arrow, your knock feather facing up or side, or however you can have it on your rest. But for recurve, it has to be pointed out. Now that we talked about the different types of grips, the split or the 3 underneath, I'm going to show you how you're going to hold the string. You're going to use your 3 fingertips, just like this, and pull it back. You don't want to use this first indent in your knuckles because that's going to roll the string. And then any other recurve, like I said, it's not traditional recurve. I got a whisker biscuit on it. Any other recurve where you just got to rest, that's whenever you're going to roll your arrow off your rest if you shoot it like that. So you're going to grab it with just these fingertips, you're going to pull straight back, and you're going to get to your anchor point. Your anchor point is going to be your index finger. Index finger to the corner of your mouth, whether you're shooting 3 under or split fingers, corner of your mouth is your anchor point. Alright? That's what I use, that's what the majority of people use, and that's what you should use because it gives you that same consistency every time. Now, I talked about the anchor point, we got to talk about the release. So I'm pulling back, I get to my anchor point, and with the recurve, it's a lot different than a compound. Because a compound bow, when you get halfway, you can pull 70 pounds to here, then you get your 85% let off, and you're back here, you're holding like 15 pounds. With a recurve, the farther you get back, the more poundage you feel. So when you get to here, it's pretty hard to hold it here for a long time, and you have nothing to aim with. All you're looking at is at your target, and your recurve, your bow, your arrow, everything is a piece of your body, and it's just sending the arrow where it's got to go. So when you get here, it's that split second you conduct yourself and you control yourself and you just let it fly. Now the release, a lot of people, it's called plucking the string. People come and they let go off to the side. What that's going to do is that's going to cant your recurve one way or the other. So a little saying that I was always taught was wipe the ketchup off your face. So you get to here, you get to your end point, you just let it go and you just wipe the ketchup off your face. So it's going to look something like this. I'm going to pull back, get to my anchor point, conduct myself, control it, and let it go. It's getting a little wet out there. I had to get my arrows. It's raining pretty hard now. But here's another view of how it's supposed to look.